Today, the world is once again reminded that conflict can reach ordinary lives. In the middle of rising tension in the Middle East, a heartbreaking story emerged. An overseas Filipino worker lost her life during a missile attack linked to the long-standing tension between Iran and Israel.
Who would have imagined that someone who traveled far from home to work and support family would become part of a global tragedy?
Many people are asking, how did this happen? And why are so many lives caught in the middle of political conflict? To understand this tragedy, we must look at history.
The relationship between Iran and Israel has been tense for decades.
Before 1979, the two countries actually maintained diplomatic and economic cooperation. In fact, during the era of the Iranian monarchy, the two nations had trade relations and strategic contacts. However, everything changed after the 1979 Iranian Revolution. When the new revolutionary government took power, it adopted a strong anti-Israel political stance. Diplomatic ties were cut, and mutual distrust quickly became the dominant narrative. Since then, political rivalry, security concerns, and regional influence struggles have shaped their relationship. One of the biggest points of conflict is ideological difference. The Iranian government has historically supported Palestinian groups opposing Israel, while Israel views Iran's regional influence as a major security threat. Over the years, this tension has evolved beyond political rhetoric. In modern times, missile attacks, proxy conflicts, cyber warfare, and military threats have become recurring themes in global news. For example, Israel has accused Iran of supporting armed groups operating near its borders. Meanwhile, Iran has repeatedly criticized Israel's military policies in the Middle East. The rivalry is often compared to a long geopolitical chess game. Instead of direct large-scale wars between the two nations, much of the confrontation happens indirectly through regional allies, political pressure, and strategic operations. Military technology has also become a key factor. Both countries are known for developing advanced defense systems and missile capabilities. Israel, despite its small geographic size, has built sophisticated air defense systems to protect its population. On the other hand, Iran has invested heavily in missile development as a form of strategic deterrence. The situation is especially dangerous because even a single military escalation can potentially affect civilians far beyond the two countries. History has shown that modern conflicts are no longer confined to battlefields. Missile strikes can reach cities, transportation hubs, and residential areas. Every time tension rises, people begin to fear the same question. How long must ordinary civilians suffer because of political conflicts between powerful nations? Behind every headline are families waiting for safety, children hoping for peace, and communities praying that violence will not escalate further. The world continues to watch this fragile balance, hoping that history will not repeat its darkest chapters. The victim was a Filipina working in Israel. Like many overseas Filipino workers, she traveled thousands of kilometers away from her homeland in the Philippines, carrying dreams that are shared by millions of migrant workers around the world. Overseas work has been deeply embedded in Filipino society for decades. For many families, migration is not simply a career decision, but a survival strategy shaped by economic reality. The story of Filipino overseas workers began accelerating during the late 20th century, when domestic job opportunities struggled to keep pace with rapid population growth. As urbanization expanded but local industrial development remained uneven, many Filipinos found that working abroad offered significantly higher income compared to staying home. In some cases, the salary difference between local employment and foreign employment could be several times larger, creating a powerful financial motivation. Many Filipinos working overseas endure emotional sacrifices that are rarely visible in economic statistics. Loneliness becomes a constant companion. Birthdays, anniversaries, graduations, and simple family dinners are often missed. Modern communication technology allows video calls, but technology cannot fully replace physical presence. Imagine watching your child grow older through a small screen while you are sleeping in a foreign country, working long hours to send money home. How many parents can remain emotionally strong under such circumstances? The Philippines has one of the largest overseas labor populations in the world. Filipino workers can be found in healthcare, domestic service, construction, hospitality, maritime industries, and many other sectors. Internationally, Filipino workers are often praised for their professionalism, adaptability, and English communication skills. These qualities make them highly competitive in global labor markets. The economic contribution of overseas Filipino workers is also significant. Remittances sent back to the Philippines help support education, housing, healthcare, and small businesses. Some families are able to move from poverty to relative financial stability because someone is working abroad. In rural areas especially, overseas income sometimes becomes the primary source of household survival. However, behind these economic benefits lies a deeper social cost. Children growing up without one or both parents may experience emotional distance. Some migrant workers return home after many years and find that family relationships have changed. Time moves differently when people live apart. Migration is not unique to the Philippines. Many developing countries also experience large-scale labor migration. Workers from Southeast Asia, South Asia, and parts of Africa travel abroad seeking employment opportunities. The global economy has created a system where labor flows across borders, while families remain geographically separated. Historically, migration patterns were influenced by globalization, trade expansion, and labor shortages in wealthier countries. Middle Eastern nations, including Israel, attracted foreign workers due to demand in domestic services, agriculture, and other sectors. These workers often become an invisible backbone supporting local economies. Yet migrant workers are also among the most vulnerable populations during geopolitical conflicts. When tensions rise between countries, foreign workers usually have limited political protection. They are guests in a foreign land, dependent on the host country's security situation. Unlike soldiers or political leaders, they have little influence over military decisions, but they may still suffer the consequences. The tragedy of the Filipino worker serves as a reminder that global conflicts are not fought only by armies and governments. Ordinary people are often the ones who bear the emotional and physical risks. She was not a soldier. She was not a politician. She was simply someone trying to earn a living and support her family. When international conflict erupts, migrant workers face uncertainty. Airports may be closed, transportation may be disrupted, emergency evacuation may be difficult. Families back home may spend sleepless nights watching news updates, hoping that nothing worse will happen. This raises a painful question. How many more migrant workers must leave their homes to search for better opportunities? And how many more families must live with anxiety, knowing that the person they love is working in a place where peace is never guaranteed? The story of this Filipino worker is not just about one life lost. It is a reflection of a larger global reality where economic necessity, migration, and international conflict sometimes intersect in tragic ways. Behind political headlines and military reports are human beings who carry dreams, responsibilities, and love for their families. There is a significant Filipino community living and working in Israel. Over the years, migration patterns have led many Filipinos from the Philippines to seek employment opportunities there. Most Filipino workers in Israel are employed in caregiving, domestic assistance, healthcare support, and service-related industries. One of the main reasons for this migration is the high demand for professional caregivers, especially for elderly patients who require long-term assistance. The deployment of Filipino workers abroad is regulated by the Philippine Overseas Employment Administration, an agency responsible for protecting overseas Filipino workers and ensuring that employment contracts meet legal standards. Through government regulation, the goal is to reduce exploitation risks, monitor recruitment agencies, and help workers receive fair working conditions. Despite these efforts, challenges still exist because workers are living in foreign environments where enforcement of protection policies can be difficult. In several urban areas of Israel, Filipino communities have formed small social networks where people speak Filipino languages during gatherings. In neighborhoods such as residential districts around Tel Aviv, it is not unusual to hear Filipino conversations in apartment complexes, community events, or church gatherings. These communities help reduce loneliness by allowing workers to maintain cultural connections even while living far from home. One interesting and often overlooked fact is that many elderly Israelis depend on Filipino caregivers for daily living. Some families trust Filipino workers to assist their elderly parents because Filipino caregivers are often described as patient, compassionate, and hardworking. Caregiving is not just a technical job. It requires emotional intelligence, empathy, and long-term dedication. In many households, caregivers become part of the family routine. They help elderly patients take medication, prepare meals, assist with mobility, and provide companionship. For some elderly people living alone, the caregiver may become the primary person they interact with every day. This creates a unique emotional bond between caregiver and patient, even though they come from different cultures, speak different languages, and grew up in different societies. Filipino workers in Israel also contribute to the healthcare and service system by filling labor shortages in specialized support roles. Developed countries often face aging population challenges, which increase demand for long-term elderly care. Without foreign caregivers, many families would struggle to provide consistent attention to aging relatives. However, working abroad is not without risk. Overseas workers may face cultural adjustment challenges, homesickness, and uncertainty during political tensions. When regional security situations change, foreign workers are often among the first groups to feel anxiety about safety. The presence of Filipino workers in Israel is a symbol of global labor interdependence. One country's aging population problem can become another country's employment opportunity. One family's economic necessity can become another society's caregiving solution. Did you ever think that global migration connects people in ways that political borders cannot easily separate? Behind every caregiver walking through Israeli streets is a story of sacrifice, hope, and responsibility. Many of them are not just workers. They are parents sending children to school, sons and daughters supporting aging relatives, and individuals trying to build a better future through hard work. And yet, despite their contribution, overseas workers remain vulnerable when geopolitical tensions escalate. Because when conflict happens, foreign workers cannot simply choose to ignore it. Their safety depends on decisions made by governments and forces far beyond their control. Why do many families in Israel prefer Filipino workers? If you talk to Israeli employers, many of them will say the same thing. Filipino workers are known for being patient. They are known for being hardworking. And perhaps most importantly, they are known for being respectful. In caregiving work, technical skill is important, but emotional behavior matters just as much. Think about this. When you are caring for an elderly person, you are not only helping with medicine or mobility, you are also giving companionship, you are listening, you are being present. Many Filipino caregivers from the Philippines are praised for having gentle communication styles. They usually speak softly, they try to avoid conflict, and they show patience even when work is physically or emotionally tiring. In a country like Israel, where security pressure and social tension sometimes exist, reliability and trust are very important. Employers want workers who will follow instructions carefully, workers who will stay calm during emergencies, workers who can handle long-term caregiving responsibilities. Would you believe that in some Israeli households, Filipino caregivers are treated almost like family? In many homes, caregivers share meals with the family. Some join small celebrations. Some build friendships that last for years. Imagine spending years taking care of an elderly person, waking them up in the morning, preparing food, helping them walk, talking to them when they feel lonely. Over time, the relationship becomes more than just employer and worker. It becomes human connection. Some elderly patients become emotionally attached to their caregivers because the caregiver is often the person they talk to every day. For some seniors, the caregiver is the one who listens to stories they have repeated many times, the one who reminds them to take medicine, the one who stays beside them when they feel weak. This is why Filipino caregivers are often valued not only for their physical work, but also for emotional presence. But working abroad is never easy. Foreign workers must adapt to new culture, new language, and sometimes unpredictable security situations. During regional tensions in the Middle East, migrant workers may feel fear because they are far from home. They cannot easily return to their families. They depend on safety systems in a foreign country. The relationship between Israeli families and Filipino workers shows how global migration is not only about money. It is about trust. It is about emotional support. And sometimes it is about forming human bonds across nations, cultures, and generations. Friendliness is often mentioned. Many Israelis say Filipino workers smile more, speak politely, and show strong dedication to their jobs. Filipino culture emphasizes family, respect for elders, and compassion. In difficult times, kindness becomes a universal language, doesn't it? The friendship between Israel and Philippines goes back further than many people realize. In 1947, the United Nations voted on a historic partition plan that helped lead to the creation of the modern State of Israel. At that time, the world was divided in opinion. Some countries supported the establishment of Israel. Others opposed it. Interestingly, the Philippines was among the few Asian nations that supported the plan. This historical decision helped build early diplomatic goodwill between the two countries. Because of this, relations between Israel and Philippines developed in a generally friendly direction over the decades. Today, the relationship is not only political but also economic and social. Thousands of Filipino workers live and work in Israel, contributing to healthcare, service industries, and caregiving sectors. Meanwhile, Israel has also shared knowledge with the Philippines in areas such as agriculture technology, water management, and security development. Some Israeli agricultural techniques have helped Filipino farming communities improve productivity in certain regions of the Philippines. Is it surprising that a relatively small Asian country played a meaningful role in Israel's early international recognition? History sometimes shows that even countries with smaller geopolitical power can influence international outcomes through diplomatic decisions. The friendship between the two nations has also been strengthened by people-to-people connections. Many Israelis have interacted directly with Filipino caregivers, workers, and service staff. These everyday human interactions may be more influential than formal treaties, because diplomacy is not only conducted by politicians. Sometimes diplomacy happens through simple conversations, shared meals, and trust built inside family homes. In modern times, both countries have maintained cooperative relations despite regional geopolitical complexity. Security challenges in the Middle East have not prevented continued social and economic contact. The story of Israel and Philippines is often described as a small but meaningful example of international friendship shaped by history, migration, and shared interests. Filipinos have worked quietly but significantly in Israeli society. Many elderly Israelis trust Filipino caregivers. Some Filipino healthcare workers assist in hospitals and private homes. Although they are far from home, they carry the reputation of being reliable workers. Have you ever thought about the emotional sacrifice of living in another country just to help your family survive? In recent years, business and technology groups from Israel have shown growing interest in economic opportunities in the Philippines. Israel is globally recognized for its strength in advanced technology industries. The country has become a leader in agricultural innovation, cybersecurity systems, and medical technology development. Many people even call Israel a startup nation because of its high concentration of technological entrepreneurship. Some Israeli companies have explored partnerships in Philippine agriculture. This is especially important because agriculture remains a significant sector in the Philippine economy. Israeli farming technology is known for helping maximize crop production, even in environments with limited water resources. In regions where drought or water scarcity is a problem, Israeli irrigation methods have helped improve agricultural efficiency. Beyond agriculture, Israeli innovation in cybersecurity has also attracted international attention. As digital transactions and online communication continue to grow in the Philippines, cybersecurity protection becomes more important. Businesses, banks, and government institutions are all facing increasing digital security challenges. Medical technology is another field where cooperation may grow. Israel has developed advanced healthcare solutions, including medical devices, diagnostic technology, and treatment research. Since the Philippines is also expanding its healthcare workforce and medical service capabilities, technology exchange could benefit both nations. Economic cooperation between Israel and Philippines does more than create business opportunities. It also builds human connections. When people trade goods, share technology, and collaborate in research, mutual understanding often improves. History has shown that countries engaged in strong economic partnership tend to experience more stable diplomatic relations. Could economic cooperation help reduce political misunderstanding in the future? Many international relations experts believe that trade and investment can act as soft bridges between nations. When businesses, scientists, and workers interact regularly, stereotypes and political tension may gradually decrease. However, economic cooperation alone cannot completely eliminate geopolitical conflict. Political ideology, regional security concerns, and historical disputes can still influence international relations. But one thing is certain: every business partnership, every technology exchange, and every investment project between Israel and Philippines adds another layer of connection between the two societies. In a world often divided by politics, economic cooperation reminds us that progress is sometimes built not through confrontation, but through shared development. The death of the Filipino worker reminds us that behind every international conflict, there are innocent lives. Families are waiting, children are waiting, loved ones are praying. In Israel, many people expressed sadness and sympathy for the lost worker. Even in conflict, humanity still shines through mourning and compassion. Why do people travel far from home? Is it only for money? Or is it also for hope? The story of the Filipino worker is not just about war. It is about family. It is about sacrifice. It is about the quiet courage of overseas workers who live far away so their families can dream of a better future. As tension continues in the Middle East, the world asks one important question: can peace ever truly protect innocent lives?